Hello viewers, welcome to another inspiring episode of Mumtaz Herbal Product Presents Voice of Excellence. This is Sadid and Wahid, your host for today's show, and today we are honored to have with us a visionary leader who is at the forefront of our country's technological advancement and revolution. Our guest today is none other than the Managing Director and CEO of Bangladesh Satellite Company Limited, BSCL, who is at the forefront of our country's flagship satellite project, Bangladesh Satellite 1. Viewers, please welcome Dr. Mohammad Imadur Rahman, a man whose leadership and expertise are going to take our country into a new technological era of advancement and connectivity. Viewers, our honorable guest for today's show is here and we are going to start the interview segment of our show now. Our guest is none other than Dr. Mohammad Imadur Rahman, Managing Director and CEO of Bangladesh Satellite Company Limited. Assalamu alaikum sir, how are you?
Walaikum salam. Thank you, I'm fine.
Most welcome. We are very delighted to be here in your office. You have a very nice office.
Thank you. Yes.
So we are going to talk about many things, and a very important issue that we are going to address today is about our satellites. But before we go there, first of all, I would like to know about your childhood. Where did you grow up? And when did you develop this interest for science and communication?
Good question.
Thank you.
So I was born in Sirat. So I spent my high school in Sirat. Then I studied in Northern College. And then after that I was in Kuwait for briefly few months, and then I left for overseas. Mainly, of course, in the high school time, I really loved physics, mathematics, chemistry. I really mastered those topics in grade 9, grade 10. From there it all started. Yeah. When I look back at my school and also in the Northern College, we had very good teachers, and I think that really ignited the interest and the passion for this. I really loved chemistry actually. But I ended up studying things which are more related to physics and mathematics. Yeah.
So, sir, back in your childhood, did you have anyone whom you took as a role model or whom you followed for your career path?
From a very, very young time, our parents involved us to many social activities. So we were involved in Scout. We were involved with some children activities. So we had a lot of very good, elder brothers to look up to. And I think those things really helped. So I remember when I was grade 5, grade 6, those days my father, he used to take us, in the flood mitigation programs and here and there. And I was very active scout. So I spent a lot of time in the scouting also. Then we spent a lot of time in other children's activities, cultural activities. And those days we had some brothers, they were really helpful. I mean, we were in the, let's say, beginning of high school and they were in the college and universities, and that really helps, I think. Yeah.
So you started your educational life back in Sylhet, then you moved to overseas. Then finally, how did you end up here as the Managing Director and CEO of Bangladesh Satellite Company Limited? I
studied all through overseas. I did my bachelor, master's and PhD overseas, and then I taught in a university for a few years, and then I joined Ericsson Research. I worked there almost 18 years. After the 5th August, there are some of the shakers and movers of 5th August. They contacted me and they asked me for supporting some of the initiatives, especially in the ICT and the telecom area. My specialization is mainly telecom area, related to mobile communication, satellite communications, fiber optics, so everything related to the communication and ICT. So I've been helping them with some advices and suggestions. As I told you that I was involved with a lot of social activities since my childhood. So even in these days when I was living outside, but I was coming to Bangladesh quite regularly. And I was engaged with many people for many things like youth activities, for some charity work and so on. So they actually approached me and they were asking me for some guidance, suggestions, to share some of the technical understanding and so on. When this discussion, followed up, and then at some point of time, one of the senior persons, he was like, only giving suggestion is not enough, you have to come. And then things just started rolling. It was November last year, things just started rolling, and December I was here. Yeah.
Sir, since you are working with satellites, I am very curious to know about one thing. how many satellites do Bangladesh really have at this moment, and for what purpose it's being used? Because we all know that satellites they basically have two purposes. One is to observe Earth and the other is communication.
Bangladesh now has mainly one satellite. It's geostationary satellite, and it's geostationary means that it rotates with the rotation of the Earth in the same rotation.
Okay.
So it has the beams are fixed, and it's actually 35,000 kilometers above. The Bangladeshi satellite is mainly for two applications. It's communication and broadcast. So we are broadcasting almost 56 channels now.
Wow.
Bangladeshi and foreign channels. And then this is one part. And the other part is, and also like DTH, the direct to home, the TV connections at home.
Like Akash.
Those kind of services. And then communication. So areas where you don't have wireless network or fiber optic network, so those places you can connect via, let's say, VSAT. So you have a small antenna, and you connect directly to the satellite. So this satellite that we have is for two applications, the communication and broadcast. Of course, there are other very important, use cases of satellites, and those are things that we are working on. Many other different applications, like one you mentioned, that Earth Observatory satellite and so on.
In how many years' time does Bangladesh Satellite Company Limited plans to launch the next satellite?
For the next satellite, we are having some discussions now. One of the things that we need for Bangladesh is Earth Observatory satellites. We have, for example, we have Dhaka City, the Raju, right? It controls the urbanization. So if you have an Earth Observatory satellite, you can actually observe, what kind of urbanization is happening, whether it is controlled or uncontrolled, and so on. So that's just one example. You have agriculture is our very important, livelihood sector, right? So you can actually use an Earth Observatory satellite to observe the irrigation level, the quality of the vegetation, whether an area is infested by insects or not. All of those things you can actually monitor. You can also monitor, the blue water economy, like in the Bay of Bengal. It's also a large source of income for us. We have almost 50,000 boats every day that goes to the Bay of Bengal. It's a large number of boats.
Indeed.
And so you can actually have this kind of Earth Observatory satellite. We have another big issue is like, now rainy season is coming. So when it will rain a lot, then many of our rivers changes their, paths, right? We know that, especially the big rivers, right? So you can actually monitor all of those things using the Earth Observatory satellite. You can also monitor now that water levels are rising. So you can actually estimate very correctly that in 72 hours time or in 48 hours time, certain area will be flooded. So you have a lot of information, and you can use that for preemptive, steps you can take. So, people will not die. So many things that you can do. You can save your property and resources and so on. We are working on now, and we have done feasibility studies. We are also discussing with some companies, and it's also needed for Bangladeshi, for our socio-economic, aspect. Then we are also working on. We just started to work with a Danish company, and we are trying to develop a maritime solution. Our Honorable Chief Advisor, he has provided us a vision that Bangladesh to become a manufacturing hub, in near future. So manufacturing hub means, as you maybe have noticed, that the Chief Advisor is having a lot of meetings for improving, modernization of our ports, in Mongla and in Chittagong ports. Because if you produce things and you don't have the port facilities, then how do you take it out and ship it to overseas, right? If that happens, then in the Bay of Bengal, the number of vessels will increase heavily. Many more vessels will come. So we are also working on developing a maritime satellite solution, and that will go very much hand in hand with that vision that we become an economic hub and a manufacturing hub.
Sir, we all know that satellite technology is something that we Bangladeshis are not quite familiar with. So I wanted to ask you, are there any initiatives or steps that BSCL has taken to educate our population more about satellites, or to create personnels who are skilled with satellite technology?
We bought a satellite, right, BS1, which is Bangladesh Satellite 1. And what we did is that is that we actually ordered Thales, French company, to build it. So it's like we bought the product, we put it up, and we are using it now. So one of the things that I would really love to do is actually to make sure that we don't do these kind of things anymore. We still buy, but part of the satellite to be manufactured in Bangladesh. And this essentially means that to bring some of the technology transfer, right? And this essentially means that to increase the competence related to satellite technology in Bangladesh, right? And if we go to that vision slowly, then that goal is, one of the vision that we set up is that by 2040, inshallah, we send our own satellite to the space. So if we want to do that, then we need to start, competence building activities. And one of the things that we are starting now, we are discussing now, is to increase collaboration with universities. Number one, we go to universities, we give workshops, presentations, how things work, what are the benefits for the country, where are the opportunities, and now we know that this artificial intelligence, the machine learning is becoming very important globally, right? And this will also have a huge impact in this industry, in the satellite technology. So what we need a sizable number of people in the country who will study this technology, who will build their career in this. And in parallel, actually, the business will also grow.
Sir, you are holding a very big position in your professional life, so you must have a very busy schedule. So how do you maintain work and personal life balance?
It's always a challenging issue. It's not easy. Yeah. One thing I try to do is I try to be efficient. It's very important not to waste time. To make sure that if you can do something in half an hour, you do it in half an hour. Don't waste. And then also to see that, of course, you need recreation, you need leisure, but there needs to be a balance. Just sitting and talking for 3 hours and wasting the time is not really a very good strategy. So there is one thing, that to make sure that be efficient in terms of using the time and so on. And the other thing is that it's all about prioritization. If there is a friend that you really like, you will make time for the friend, right? It doesn't matter whether you are busy or not, right? True. Because you prioritize the friend. So one of the things that I really advise everyone, I usually do a lot of mentoring the youth, and I used to do that in Europe also when I was since I lived there. I ran a lot of youth enrichment programs and so on, mentoring. So one of the things that I always promote to the people is that in addition to the efficiency in work, and also using the time in a good way, always to make sure that to do the right prioritization, what you really want to do, and so I always look at it like, is it really important for me? Is it really, and does it really give me the happiness that I'm looking for? You see that many people, everyone decides based on their own understanding that what makes them happy and so on. Okay, for me, happiness is when I see that because of my action, someone else is getting benefited in some ways. In some ways it can be monetarily, or sometimes I have seen that, just an example, once one very young man, he came and I saw that he has a very good degree, it was in Sweden, actually, in Stockholm, but he's going to interviews and not getting any good response. And I was like, that cannot be the case. This guy, he has some competences that is needed for the company, right? So then I talked to him a little bit, and I formulated him a little bit, and then I told him that if we go to interview, speak like this, wear this kind of clothes and all of those kind of stuff. 2 months later, he was very happy. He's like, I joined this company, and he came with me and he wanted to offer me a lunch, Yeah. So you see, this is the thing. Once you love to do something, and once you really want to contribute, then you will always find time and make a balance. Important is to be engaged in things that really makes you content, that really makes you happy.
Sir, I have heard that apart from work, you also do a lot of social works. You are affiliated with some social organizations, and just now you were saying that if you do something good that benefits the others, you get self-satisfaction. Is that so? Do you do those social activities because of that?
Yeah, of course. Everything happens gradually, right? In 2009, when there was a war in Gaza, in the month of Ramadan, so we in Sweden, what we did was that we raised some funds, and before that we used to raise small funds here and there, but that was an incident when suddenly a large amount of money came to us. It was friends actually, 8 to 10 friends, and we are not only from Bangladesh, from different countries. Together we said we need to take an initiative. So when a large amount of money came, and suddenly we saw that we have a lot of cash, how to handle it now, because we don't have any organization. This was more like an individual initiative. And then we said that okay, now we need to build an organization, so that everything is done by books. It's very important. Otherwise, you run into the rules and regulations of the country. So then we built a charity organization where we actually gradually built it up, and then so that organization now we have almost 60,000 donors actually.
Wow, that is really
Sweden
impressive.
alone, actually. Yeah.
So it's based in Europe.
It's based in Sweden mainly.
Okay.
However, we have collaborations with organizations in Denmark, in Finland, in Germany, UK. So we also do a lot of fundraising and projects together. So actually, last year we have ran 52 projects in 27 countries globally. Of course, Bangladesh being one of the main ones.
Sir, we have come to almost the end of our interview session. So I would like to bother you with one final question, which is, how do you envision the technological transformation of Bangladesh, and what advice would you give to our youth so that we can build a tech-savvy young generation for the future?
So you see, the artificial intelligence and machine learning will fundamentally change the world. Okay, due to robotics and automation, the job market will look very different compared to what it is today. In 10 years down there, 15 years down there, job market will be very different.
I think it has already started showing its impact.
True, exactly. So one of the things that I see is that only people who can think will be able to be active in the job market. Because machine will start doing a lot of regular jobs. The jobs where you don't need to think, machine will do them. So many of the jobs which are manual jobs, we don't need to, repetitive jobs, the machines will do them. So only the people who will think, they will be able to survive in this job market. This is what's going to happen. In West, it's already happening, and in our countries, it will come. It's just a matter of time. See, that's why to the young people, wherever I go these days, I tell them this is the fact. And then, so important is to be able to think, to be a thinker. Okay? And everybody has to be a thinker. And for that, very important is to read more, is to learn more. And these days, there are so much material available in the internet, so much material, So instead of spending time on TikTok and YouTube and this and that, I tell young people that you spend 5 hours in TikTok, but just spend 1 hour for learning. You don't need to spend whole day. Spend every day 1 hour for learning on a technical issue. It can be anything, and there are so much material. In that, economic situation started going bad, right? And I suddenly thought that, this inflation and the macroeconomy and microeconomy, I want to learn about it. So I went to the Khan Academy. They have very nice lectures about it. I spent a few hours and I understood the thing now. I don't say I understand everything, but I understood a largely
you got the gist of it.
This is how it's working and so on, right? So these kind of materials are available in the internet. So young people should really invest their time and energy. I'm not saying that you invest 10 hours. I'm saying 1 hour a day is enough.
So, sir, we all know that recently Bangladesh has been selected as the 54th nation in NASA's Artemis program. So, what impact can it have on our country or on the future of our tech industry?
This is really a good step. So, this gives us access to the space research and space technology related aspects of a large network. And of course, NASA being the biggest organization globally for space research and technology. So I think being part of this program, now there will be opportunities for our young researchers and scientists actually to go visit NASA and be part of their activities and so on. That will really bring a lot of competence back to the country. So I'm really looking forward to it. We will know that more details in near future.
Sir, thank you for such amazing advice. I think our viewers will be very helped if they really listen to your words, and all the best to you and Bangladesh Satellite Company Limited for their upcoming endeavors and plans. But before I leave, I have a small gift for you from our sponsor, which is
okay.
Mumtaz Herbal Products.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.